Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name is Trina Wilcox. My guest today, a very integral part of entrepreneurship, the community, Justyn Pippins. Welcome so much. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Trina. Very glad to be here. And I really appreciate all that you're doing in the community as well. So just really excited about this opportunity.
Right back at you. You are one of those people that any entrepreneur would be very thrilled to come across because you will give out all the resources that you potentially know about. You're a
Yeah.
connector. You're all about making sure that people are tied to other people that can lift them up as well. How
hmm
did you get involved in all of this to begin with, entrepreneurship, and then just diving into helping the community?
Yeah. Really weird experience. I hate to draw back to because I hate tying back to this, but it a lot of times it comes back to my stepdad. When I grew up, my stepfather was a political guy. He was in the political scene in Chicago. He worked on Rod Blagojevich's campaign and Todd Strozer's campaign. So a lot of times, when I was in high school or just younger, I'd be going to these events, and they always needed some young person from the community of color that could just come and speak to, you know, why this candidate is good and this and that. My stepfather, I hated this about him, but he would always make me go and speak at stuff.
You got
What?
voluntold.
Yes, yes.
Right.
It could be bitty ball, basketball, just on a Sunday randomly. If the coach at the end of the game would say, someone say something inspirational, my stepfather would always push me out there. He'd always force me into those opportunities. And it was always just kind of embedded in me, but I just kind of needed somebody to bring it out. So my stepfather planted that seed. And then I think just kind of being in Springfield, Lau Foster and just some of the mentors I've had in this area has really started to bring some of that community engagement and just being a connector and things like that, just bringing it out of me.
What do you think one of the most important thing is for entrepreneurs to know when they're starting or to get involved with when they're starting?
Just to know that it's going to be hard, it's not going to be easy, and that you're going to need a lot of help.
Yeah.
I think that's a very simple, you know, strategic thing that, a lot of times we just want to put everything on our shoulders and do everything ourselves. And yes, if you do that, you get all the glory and the fame and all that. But at the same time, you just don't get very far when you're doing things by yourself.
And there's something really rewarding about connecting with other people too. I mean, because you're getting to see their growth and learn from that too. It really is a give and take
hmm
relationship, with other
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs. What were some of your early entrepreneur endeavors?
Yeah, I would say just kind of like I just kind of mentioned to you earlier, just kind of volunteering for events or just showing up at events, networking, getting to know people. That was kind of really how I got started. And I didn't really think much of that, but kind of like to your point, it was just kind of like that starting off point that kind of got me out in the community, got me talking to people, got me in the right crowds, um, pushed me into some, speaking opportunities that might have been a little uncomfortable for me, getting up in front of people and talking, 20 or 30 people, 40 people in the room. So just some of those uncomfortable situations, I think kind of pushed me into, wanting to learn more and to get more into it.
And so then after you did some of that as an adult, what are some of the things that you've taken on?
Yeah, just kind of some of the things I've worked with you on is just getting involved with some of the business groups in town, SCORE and NBA, getting to know the members, putting on events, sponsorship opportunities, getting the name out in the community about these organizations. And through doing that, I've been able to cross paths with you several times. And so, just things like that very early on, um, getting opportunities, not getting those no's. I think no's, they're yeses, but they're just kind of disguised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just getting those opportunities really kind of helped me to see that, there is kind of a cog or a hole in the business community, and I might be able to fill a void there.
What do you think you'd be doing if you weren't doing what you are doing?
I always wanted to go into broadcast journalism. I wanted to be
Yep.
on TV, and that wasn't. I didn't have to be in front of the TV. I wanted to be behind the camera. I could just be doing anything in kind of media,
Mhm.
and that was what my kind of like what my stepdad did. Like when I told you before, so he was kind of involved in that, and I just kind of really saw, how it kind of made him really well rounded, and that was originally what I wanted to do.
Do you ever think that you might reroute and do some of that, or are you pretty set where you're at?
No, I think I'm pretty set where
Yeah.
I'm at. I gave that up a long time ago. Early on, fresh out of college, I saw that those were, you kind of just had to intern at those companies or volunteer
Mhm.
there before you would get hired in. And I
Yeah.
needed to make money right away.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I pivoted from that really quickly.
What now you are involved in 2 really important, um, entrepreneur business related, not events, but, associations,
Mhm.
Multi-Business Culture Association, and then SCORE Business Mentors. Talk a little bit about each one of those and how they can benefit people.
Yeah, I'll start with NBA. Their executive directors, Darlin Mabins, and you know, they're doing a great job of just building capacity in the community with, maybe different contractors or different kind of big organizations that are looking to kind of, get more minorities involved in what they're doing. They're doing well with networking. They've been doing a series of events with Christine Morton around social media marketing and just how to market yourself as a business owner. So they're providing resources that are, simple and to the point for, business owners in town to plug in with them, get involved in the community, meet some people. And they're doing great. They're really doing great. And it's funny that I tie both of them together because NBA is Score's strategic partner this year. So Score's going to be doing a series of things to support NBA this year. Um, so stay tuned for that. You'll hear about it. They'll be doing some things to support women in NBA and just supporting their members in general. And so to piggyback to, well, let me give a little bit of history on NBA.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Their former executive director was Sam Knox, and they've probably been around for about 13 years.
Mhm.
And so, like I said, they just have done a really great job of highlighting the small business owners in the community and working with them, and then getting a lot of their employees and members to just kind of um, send referrals to each other and things like that. So SCORE is a different monster. They are a national organization. They've got chapters all across Missouri. And locally here, how I got tied in with them was the rep will come to our NBA meetings every month. You probably know her. Her name is Mary Overby. At the time, she would come to all of our meetings and she would hound me about SCORE. And I would just be like, "What is this? What are you guys talking about? What is SCORE?" Um, and so just kind of learning about them and what they do. They're a mentoring group. Their main thing is mentoring. So they'll mentor you from start. If you have an idea to start a business, if you're starting a business, if you're exiting a business, they'll help you with anything, marketing. They stay away from the cannabis and the CBD and that kind of business entrepreneurial stuff, but they'll help you with anything else. So outside of mentoring, they provide trainings, workshops. Here locally, we hold most of our workshops at the Schweitzer Brentwood Library.
Mhm.
Um, we do some things on Zoom. And then outside of that, we have a women's conference every year. And so they're pivoting from that this year, and they're going to put on an event that Kansas City did last year that was very successful. And it was called Access to Money.
Okay. What was that all about?
Um, y- you know, and you can relate to this, Trina. You can relate to this. Um, you talk to a lot of small business owners. You have a lot
Mhm.
of conversations with different, young professionals and business owners in town. And the main thing that everybody needs is money.
Right.
That's the first thing everybody says. Can I have some money? A lot of folks come to us at SCORE and they say, hey, can you give me some money? And when we say no, they don't want to talk to us anymore. They don't want anything
Mhm.
to do with us. So the main thing we hear is folks need money. And so that's what we're putting on an event this year. That's access to money. So what will be involved in that is, you know, keynote speakers, breakout sessions, all that. It'll be at the E Factory, September 18th. But then the big part of this is the pitch contest where there'll be prize money awarded in some way. So, you know, we're trying to get the business owners excited about, you know, getting their hands on some money, you know, and it'll be a simple pitch contest. It won't be a grant or, you know, you have to go fill out all this stuff and do this or that. It'll be simply kind of like Shark Tank.
Ooh, I mean, that's nerve-wracking, but hey, you gotta earn it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I hope you'll come back and tell us more about that as things develop so people have it in front of their faces. They know about it. They have the access. At least they can't say they didn't know about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But let's
Absolutely.
keep that up. Anything else you want to share for the entrepreneurs out there struggling?
Yeah, I think like kind of you know, just like a leadership piece, you know, just I'll say that, you know, it's really important to, as you start a business or exit a business or whatever you're doing, always be a lifelong learner.
Mhm.
Um, you know, always be jumping on opportunities to grow and to develop as an individual, whether that's personally or professionally, and just not getting in a comfortable place where you don't feel like you have to. You've hit it, you've made it, and you don't have to do much more.
Yeah.
No, you're always going to be continuing to grow and to develop, learn, reading, however you consume content. Always be, you know, just a student of the game.
How are you always staying on top of being a great leader?
I will say it's been really hard, but a lot of it now, as I've gotten a little older, is really tied up in self care.
Oh, yeah. Talk about that because I
Yeah.
think that's something that it seems like I've been talking to a lot of people about that. You know, it's not always what everybody paints the picture to look like.
Hmm.
So, how has that been for you?
It's been a journey. You know, I've been the type of person who doesn't like to say no to people. I've been that yes man. And, you know, I do a lot for organizations and people in town. And you know, so you get caught up in that routine.
Yeah.
You just go, 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 go. You're going to events or you're going to help this event over here. You're going to volunteer for this over here. We're just doing so much that we don't slow down and say, hey, what do I need?
Yeah.
So I've had to really kind of break my routine and do more in the week that kind of speaks to me and what I need, whether
Mhm.
that's getting out of town for the weekend or getting a massage or um, going to have coffee with someone who's going to be very inspirational and pour into me. So just figuring out what that looks like for you. A lot of people recharge and do things in different ways. And so for me, it could be a massage. It could be um, you know, a podcast, you know, a motivational podcast, but just making time for that in the week.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's something that we all talk about. We say it to our friends, but we don't always do it for ourselves. And when we are doing business for ourselves or trying to encourage other people, we do get in this habit of we've got to say yes, we've got to do it, we've got to get out there. But
Mm,
if we're not recharging, how can we, you know,
yeah.
even think about inspiring, encouraging, and fueling someone else?
Yeah. You've heard that saying before where it's like, oh, well, what are you doing? I'm busy. I'm busy. You're so
Yeah.
busy. You're so busy. And it's like, I think people assume being busy with, I've got a lot going on and, you
Mm,
know, and all this. And it's like, that's great. But if you're not taking care of yourself, like you said, it doesn't matter how busy you are. You're just running on fumes.
yeah. I try to tell myself, am I being productive or just busy? Because just busy, you want to be productive and you've got to recharge and refuel to be productive ever.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've had to, like I said, it's a struggle and you get off track and um, it's just getting back on track.
Where can people go to get in touch with you if they want to connect, if they want to have an inspiring conversation or need a good mentor when you have time?
Yeah.
Where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can request me as a mentor. Score Southwest Missouri, and just search my name, Justyn Pippins. You can request me as a mentor. You can get in touch with me that way. People can message me on social media. I always respond to messages on social media. So I try to be as accessible as possible.
Love it. All right. And if you're listening and not watching, is JustynPippins is what you're looking for. Justyn Pippins, thank you so much for sharing some time with me. Come back soon and we'll
Thank you,
talk more
Trina.
about the events coming up. I
Will
appreciate
do.
it.
Okay.
Thank you.